So Asmongold has dropped a video titled "Everything is Woke." I won't lie, I'm very interested in this, as somebody who spends a lot of time here on YouTube calling out woke culture, but is also incredibly annoyed at when our side labels literally everything as woke and try to be as rational and down the middle as possible. I kind of want to see what's going on. So welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idol, and yes, we are going to do a reaction video. We're going to check this out, see what it has going on with it, and I'm gonna be real. Like I said, I have not seen this. This is an entirely new concept for me. It's something that I'm not sure what actually the video entails, and yeah, all in all, we're just gonna go through it and see if he makes any sort of valid points. So before we do, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day, and let's just get into it.
The whole actman Andy pants, most is inconsequential,
but this part is very relevant.
I never have watched this. I have no idea what even happened here.
Told you, I think it's incredibly strange to talk about Concord and not I think it's incredibly strange to talk about Concord and not mention the clear woke slop. And you make fun of people who use the word woke, and you never use the word, even though it completely describes what's going on right now in gay.
I didn't even cover this actman, Andy, whatever drama. It was really stupid. As much as I can't stand the actman, he kind of got shafted here. There was a false copyright claim that shouldn't have been done. You know, Andy got torched by everybody, rightfully so. So yeah, point is, it was a really dumb topic of conversation.
Games.
So the thing about the word woke is it harkens back to that old story we all read and were taught when we were growing up, The Boy Who Cried Wolf. These days, it's The Boy Who Cried Woke. There is so much disingenuous criticism using the word woke. The word is so liberally applied to everything.
This is why we banned it on the subreddit, by the way.
Before Asmongold gives his points, I agree with that man. Like, don't get me wrong, I use the word. We all use the word. I try to avoid using it in my videos and whatnot, if you haven't noticed, unless it's accompanied by a bunch of other words to sort of explain it, because it's a catch-all word that literally means nothing at this point. If you can't explain what woke is, or if you don't know, or you can't think of a better way to explain yourself without using the word, then you're probably not using it correctly. Now, is it a thing? Absolutely. There are times when it quite literally is just the best way to apply what you're referring to. Yeah, Concord was woke. There is no better way to, I mean, you can go into details about the uglification of the characters, the pronouns, but let's be real, when you look at Concord, it has woke written all over it, so.
For a while. Is because people use the word woke the same as they use the word, like, racist or, like, a few other things, where it's like, this is, like, basically it's like a filler word because I don't know how to actually define what the problem is. So I'm just going to use like this bucket word that somehow is going to apply. DEI is the new woke? Yeah, DEI is, yeah, exactly.
Bingo, bango, bongo. Not only is that what I just said, but also last night, or I guess 2 nights ago by the time you see this, on Gooch's stream, I also said the same thing about DEI. So, I mean, look at that. Great minds think alike. What's our excuse?
Because there are so many...
There's two races in video games. There's white and woke.
Online grifters who produce daily outrage content that are saying, this thing is woke, this thing is woke, you should be angry, you should be upset. Tune in tomorrow for episode 4169 on why Star Wars is woke now and why you should hate it and be mad and angry and upset. Yeah.
Now, that being said, while what actman just said there is true in some instances, he's also being just as disingenuous when saying it like that and being completely dismissive of the individuals that are doing this in good faith, bringing up good points, and trying to make a change. So, yeah, and the pot's kind of calling the kettle black here.
There's so much of that going on that the ending of the story of The Boy Who Cried Wolf is that at the end there was a wolf out there, but because there were so many false claims of there being a wolf, the people didn't help him. So that's what's happened with the word woke. When I hear somebody,
I think that actman's bringing up a really good point here, and I think the best example of that point is that a lot of people have labeled games like Space Marine 2 as woke because it has I guess like a female commander in it, and I feel like that's not really what's happening. And a lot of people, well, sorry, that's actually not true. A lot of people is inaccurate. You're correct in correcting me on that. There is like a list of like what games are woke and what games are not woke. And I think Elden Ring and Space Marine 2 were put on that list.
which was an insane list. I meant to do a video on it and got busy and forgot. This is a list separate from Bruce Rambo's list, by the way. This is a copycat that put literally every game on there. And what Asmongold is saying here is sort of correct. There are individuals who did call Space Marine 2 and Elden Ring woke, and which is insane to have done, but those are the sorts of individuals that I am talking about. The ones that just need the culture war to stay going because that's their entire identity. Anybody that is actually anti-woke, and anybody that has thought about what wokeness is and why it's a problem in media for more than 5 seconds would never have called those things woke, and would hopefully join me in calling out the bad actors that do use the word disingenuously, or to be the most charitable, use it incorrectly.
So when you paint with such a broad brush that almost anything could be, if you interpret it in this way, could be perceived as woke, you end up devaluing the word. No, I'm being serious, right? Baldur's Gate 3 too? Well, I could see Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 makes a lot more sense that it's woke because you can engage in homosexual relationships. You can, you know, I think they have pronouns in the game. You can change a character's genitalia with, like, not having them have a different body. I feel like
And Baldur's Gate 3, by the way, is woke. It's just such a good game that we give it a bit of a pass because, let's be real, it's a lot of fun and it's a really well-made game. Like, that's what it boils down to. But yeah, no, technically by the criteria of what woke is, and frankly because it's funded by Wizards of the Coast, it is in fact woke.
Baldur's Gate 3, like, you could make an argument that, like, yeah, sure, this is a woke type thing, right? It's just that people don't care because it seems like it's an authentic product. And so I think that what happened is that people are trying to, like, identify every instance of something being woke. But I think that if you retroactively apply this to a lot of other games, you would see other games in the past that have also had this issue as well, right? So, like, for example, with, like, Space Marine 2, you could also say, like, Gears of War, right? Would also be woke because of Coltrane and Dom. Right?
And see, there's the problem with people not understanding what woke is, because, and I'm not sure, I should probably let Asmongold finish this point, but having a woman in something doesn't make it woke. Hey, what makes something woke is if you are making a decision like that purely for political or ideological reasons, and it takes priority over the product, over the story, over the gameplay, whatever it may be. When Gears of War, had its badass female characters, no, it wasn't woke, because the story, the characters, the heart of what they were doing in the game all came through first, and these characters just happen to be black, or female, or gay, or insert any sort of what is considered woke here or there.
So that seems like kind of a bad argument, a bad way to look at it. So the problem is that I think that people have started using the term woke for too many different things, or Halo, right? Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, wow, Master Chief has a woman that knows everything, that tells him what to do. And, Sergeant Johnson's like this black guy, and, like, he tells everybody else what to do, right? If you want to look at everything through that lens, it's like if you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And I do think Actman's bringing up a good point that if everything is woke, then nothing is.
Okay, Actman might be bringing up a good point, because I actually said the same thing earlier, but he's doing it in a horrible way. He's bringing it up in a very dismissive way, whereas Asmongold is effectively giving the same point, but he's doing it in a far more casual, let's just have a conversation way, as opposed to, my mind is already made up and I'm not changing. The tone really does matter.
And I think that the problem is that Concord, which is, like, in my opinion, definitely a woke game, like 100%, is that if you don't figure out a way to, like, grade this or to have any sort of, like, measured criticism, you can't say Concord is as woke as Space Marine 2, right? Like, this is, it's like, it's beyond retarded. So that's a huge issue. And I think it's making it hard for people that are, like, against this kind of stuff to be taken seriously, because they're doing things that are unserious. If you accept everything, you stand for nothing.
Thank you. What have I been saying, especially about this Ghost of
like,
Yote
this
stuff? This is
like
literally exactly what I've been saying about, like, for example, Ghost of Yote.
If you don't
Bingo,
stand
bango,
for
bongo,
anything, then all
gets
you're
it.
doing is laying down. You're doing nothing. So it's like you have to be measured in your criticism and your feedback.
It's what happened to the words racist and sexist a few years ago.
He's right.
People were
exactly
saying, like, air conditioning sexist, and
Yes.
right, all this stupid
Which, by
shit.
the way, that was a real title. That was a legitimate thing. Women were saying that air conditioning was sexist.
It is racist and sexist.
Wait till they find
and
out
it
about
destroyed
dishwashers.
the meaning that those words are supposed to have.
He's right.
The boy who cried racist.
Nazi is the worst one. I think Nazi and slavery are two of the worst ones that are used now, because people use, like, for example, I'm working at a job that doesn't treat me well as slavery. And like, they don't, like, it's just, I think it downplays, like, we have real slavery, right? Like, now we have real slavery. It's not in the US. Like, and by the way,
No,
if
it's
you
in
are
Africa,
like,
ironically.
there's like 3 smart Redditors in chat that are like, well, what about prisons? Nothing like slavery. Nothing like actual slavery. If you think that, you're a retard, read a book. Anyway, just look it up on Wikipedia. It'll take you 5 seconds to learn that you're stupid. So if you compare that to like what's happening in, like, you know, Africa, etc., that is actual slavery in some cases, right? It is really bad. And so people that compare those two things, I think, are being like very, very disingenuous, and they're like hijacking the emotional baggage of a word to make their own argument or their own feelings more important. And I think Nazi is the same thing.
And ironically enough, when those of us that actually care about the wokeness and the identity politics in gaming or comics or movies or culture in general, we are trying to make an appeal to logic over emotion, because it has gotten us emotional that we can no longer enjoy, insert whatever medium you're trying to enjoy here. Like it's kind of an interesting cyclical thing. So Asmongold's choice of you know, emotional hijacking there, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but was very well done.
Like, the amount of times that I hear people being called Nazis because they don't want open borders, or they're like Donald Trump fans, is way too much.
The Boy Who Cried Sexist, The Boy Who Cried Woke. These are 3 books in a volume. Okay,
He's right.
That all have the same ending.
Dude, so it's I mean, you're a video game critic, and you do video game analysis. So I find it shocking that you don't see the pattern in a game like Concord having 3 black females in it and not a single white man.
Oh, it did have a white guy in it, but I think the problem is that a lot of the people that have discussions about this topic have, like, they've already made up their mind about it, and they're looking at it from a one-dimensional perspective. And I think that's what happens with people that are like super anti and super pro this type of like inclusion.
I mean, again, I've got to stop and say that Asmongold is 100% correct. There's a reason that despite being in the sort of anti-woke content creation space, I get into arguments with my peers, colleagues, contemporaries all the time. Now, the difference is we can have those debates and those discussions, those arguments, and we can still be, you know, simpatico with one another. We can still be cool. We can still be buddies. You try and do that to the wokesters on the left, and you're persona non grata for disagreeing a single, you know, percentage point. Me and Hypnotic argue all the time, and same with Ryan Roger Athay, and Jay Goodwin, and Will of the Fans, and the list goes on and on and on. I disagree with them wildly pretty much almost every episode of SNH. But then afterwards, we're back to talking about who our mains are in Smash Bros. Or what we're doing for the weekend, or congratulating each other on some sort of real-life event that's going on, because the internet's not real life. Like, that is what separates us.
Because they're not really looking at it. Both of these extremes trend to the perspective of, I am basing my opinion on things off of something that is not happening, basically, right? Exactly.
Well, to be fair, I mean, I think we more or less got it. I know we haven't really finished the video yet. I don't like aping people's content. When I do reactions, I try not to react to the whole video if it's something like this, because you really should go watch their content, not just me reacting to it. But that being said, it also seems like I'm pretty much in 100% agreement with Asmongold, so there probably isn't much more to glean from this. I mean, we agree. I couldn't find anything I disagree with from him. Now, from actman or whatnot, yeah, there's some disagreements there, but they're not on the screen anymore. So all in all, I guess I'm more interested in what you guys think about this. Are me and Asmongold being too lackadaisical about woke culture, or do you think you're right? People on both sides have begun to overreact to a degree of where it's honestly kind of impossible to even separate the two sides. Those are my questions to you. Let me know in the comments down below, or let me know on X, where you can find me at Bolt the Word, and please just subscribe. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day, not always about woke culture and what's going on in the video game space, but anime, movies, music, Magic the Gathering, you name it. Check me out on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon, and become a member for $4.99 a month. You can join the Discord, choose the articles I go over on a day-to-day basis, choose the videos I react to on my Friday night live streams, and of course get involved with over 90 other vital idols. We are a bright, beautiful, glowing, vibrant community that I cannot wait to grow even further, because we do care about diversity. Only one kind of diversity of thought. If that's interesting to you, join the Discord, hit subscribe, and until next time, it is all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise.